Hello, everybody, and welcome to Boss Battle. I'm your host, Goron1988, and I am here with... Yep. Welcome, Inquisitor Cat.
Hello.
So...
I don't know why my browser just wanted to default everything, so I just saw your stream intro 4 times, heard it twice, even though everything should have been muted.
Well, it's as if, it's as if the forces of evil are here today. Which is true. So, we did this in the reveal. But the battle today, it's a highly anticipated one. You're anticipating this as well, aren't you, Kat?
Indeed.
So, yeah. The battle today is Bongo Bongo versus Ganon. Now, it's just... These two are absolute powerhouses, so that is absolutely amazing. And it'll be very interesting to see them both face off against one another tonight. So, yeah. I'm just trying to think. With Bongo Bongo, just as like a small question at the start, but I wonder how Bongo Bongo would fare in Ganon's arena. I mean, I know this will happen technically within the boss battle itself, but, I mean if Bongo Bongo was fully immersed into Ganon's arena. Because there's still a lot of Dark Affinity magic sort of going on there in Ganon's arena itself, but it doesn't seem as though it's as much as the Shadow Temple itself.
I would say that the space would be the biggest issue.
Mm.
Because like Bongo Bongo has a good ways to meld into the shadows and all, but since Ganondorf's tower and castle is so lit up and clustered, and
Yeah.
the space itself would create issues.
Definitely. Yeah. So, just saying about that, shall we move on to the stats?
Yeah.
Okay, Bongo Bongo. Health A, Power B, Intelligence B, Mobility B, Dark Affinity A, Invisibility A. Bongo Bongo has steamrolled quite a few battles, honestly. And these statistics, they have worked perfectly together. They have melded perfectly with one another, and honestly, Bongo Bongo hasn't needed all these statistics. How do you think Bongo Bongo will fare against Ganon?
Say pretty much anyone else, and I could say only praises. Now I have to say that it is an almost unstoppable power hitting an almost unmovable object.
Yeah. And talking about an unmovable object, Ganon. Statistics, Health S, Power S, Intelligence S, Mobility B, Dark Affinity A, Magical Abilities S, Destiny S. Like, again, Destiny on its own has been powerful enough to defeat, well, the enemies that Ganon has faced before. I mean, I'd ask how does Ganon win this, but honestly, I think I could take any one of these stats and make a good, a good argument for why Ganon should win against Bongo Bongo.
Pretty much, we could just isolate any of the stats, and they alone would be good enough. All put together.
Yeah. So, for this battle, we'll say it's half the Shadow Temple and half, of course, Ganon's castle. We'll say that the half of Ganon's castle will be the room where Link initially fights Ganondorf. So I don't believe that they're. Hmm. I'm just trying to think what's best. Uh, are we okay since Bongo Bongo is literally called Bongo Bongo of just having a bongo in the middle, but like having it sort of spread out to the Shadow Temple of Bongo Bongos?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll kind of have it that way. So Bongo Bongo will have a bit more breathing room, but Ganondorf might have more angles effectively on Bongo Bongo in this matchup. So yeah, half Bongo Bongo's world, half Ganondorf's world, Ganondorf's castle. And then we're just left to who is going to be Bongo Bongo and who's going to be Ganon. And of course, we'll need to decide as well what the outcome is.
Yes. I would prefer Ganon.
I'll be Bongo Bongo then. And before we deal with any of this, we will, you know, we'll sort it out on the decision. And this is my opinion on it. Do you agree with my opinion on it, Kat?
Fully.
Fully? Good. So, yeah. Basically, like I said before in the last one, by the way, the the boss with the higher intelligence will always go first. In event of ties, we'll find a way of doing it. So basically, these two worlds merge together. Sorry, merge together, and it is Ganondorf in Ganondorf's form with the Destiny. So Ganondorf would eventually make it turn into Ganon, and with the Triforce of Power on one side, and Bongo Bongo on the other side. And of course, the podium in the middle has transformed into a bongo. And, well, Ganondorf has first action. So it's
Yes.
to you.
Well, with all the intelligence and power, immediately Ganon would know that there is something that has appeared. Something has manifested.
Mm.
He would just use his demonic power and command whatever it is to conceal and appear. Although there is that small caveat.
Okay, so, yeah. So Bongo Bongo would try to resist this effectively, but Bongo Bongo would just appear because Ganondorf's command would be that powerful,
But
honestly.
here's the thing. From what I
Mm,
could have searched, I don't know, can Bongo Bongo like completely just say like just turn visible? Or would it just
mm,
be the shadow even when he wants to be seen?
yeah, I didn't think of that. Some part
Yeah,
of Bong.
that's been like the one of the most annoying thing to search about Bongo Bongo.
Well, I'm just trying to think about these things. I would. Uh, yeah, I honestly wouldn't know. What would your opinion on it be, Kat? Because I would have assumed that Bongo Bongo, a lot of Bongo Bongo would appear, but not all of it.
Yeah, I would think of the same, but like at least there would be like the shifting shadows that would give out the form of Bongo Bongo.
Yeah, I think we'll.
Spe- yeah,
Yeah,
especially because it's very much forced on Bongo Bongo at this point.
yeah. So Bongo Bongo would specifically be trying to resist taking some form of form, basically, and there would be a form of Bongo Bongo that Ganondorf would be able to see. Ganondorf? Bongo Bongo would be trying to resist it, so that would probably be what Bongo Bongo is doing. So it is actually back to you.
And shame to make this fast, but Ganon would know the power what's against at this point and would just drain all the power he could.
And there we have it, everybody. The winner of this matchup is Ganon. I mean, was there any doubt, Cat?
No, the Demon King power. If you're facing a monster, it's automatic.
Yeah, exactly. However much all of these bosses try to resist Ganon, it's impossible. It's that destiny ability on its own that it's not a fair fight. Ganon will win every single time. Take the destiny out, and Ganon would still win with dark affinity and magical abilities, honestly. And then if you took out the dark affinity and magical abilities with regards to Ganon, destined Ganon, meaning Ganon does have the Triforce of Power, Ganon could still win with a high intelligence and a high power and a high health and everything else. I mean, yeah, the Ganon would have to be very much nerfed in order for Bongo Bongo to defeat Ganon. So, is there anything more that you want to say on this specific matchup?
This specific matchup would really makes me think of a cross game matchups to actually have a face to Ganon. Ganon versus
Yeah.
Demise with both being completely empowered would be one of those.
Yeah, true. Right. So, we do have another one for you because Ganon is so overpowered. We we have another boss to face off against Bongo Bongo. And this boss is Undestined Ganondorf. And it's been a while since we talked about Undestined Ganondorf. So let's get our minds straight on this one effectively. Undestined Ganondorf is Ganondorf that isn't destined to take up the Triforce of Power and hasn't taken up the Triforce of Power. Is effectively, I believe, before the adult timeline effectively. But that's why I wanted to ask you, Kat. So let's double check on this one.
Yes, so because from that point on, Ganondorf's power and knowledge and everything just skyrockets.
Yeah.
And since the destiny also fulfills being the king of demons,
Mm.
which is very much linked to the Triforce of Power in many ways in, well, the Zelda timeline, that power also is not there.
Mm. Yeah. So as you can see, there's no destiny. There's no high power, no high health. Undestined Ganondorf is completely different than Ganon in this, although Undestined Ganondorf is very powerful in his own right. So, definitely not to be trifled with. We'll go through Undestined Ganondorf stats, and we'll go through Bongo Bongo stats again. But Undestined Ganondorf stats are Health C, Power C, Intelligence S, Mobility A, Dark Affinity B, Magical Abilities A. I mean, that intelligence and mobility is really useful, and the special abilities are absolutely brilliant. How could Undestined Ganondorf win the fight against Bongo Bongo?
Well, Undestined Ganondorf has that high intelligence, and what White has proven that intelligence has been super important.
Yes, it definitely has. Although Bongo Bongo doesn't have a low intelligence in this matchup. Bongo Bongo Health A, Power B, Intelligence B, Mobility B, Dark Affinity A, Invisibility A. I mean, again, Bongo Bongo has a tool set there, and Bongo Bongo knows how to use it. How could Bongo Bongo win this against Undestined Ganondorf?
You said it best. Like, the stats are there, and the knowledge to use them are both there.
Yeah. So, just going back to the debate screen, I'm going to try to find an image for Undestined Ganondorf. Hopefully I can. Yes, we've got it. So, first of all, do you want to be Undestin Ganondorf, Cat?
Yes.
And I'll be Bongo Bongo. Okay, that's good. And the only other thing is that we've got to determine the result of everything effectively. And I'm going to type the result in here. And so, do you agree with that, Kat?
Yes, I would say the percentage is exactly
Yeah,
there.
good. Okay then. So, yeah, Bongo Bongo versus Undestin Ganondorf. Now, where do we want this battle taking place? Because we've got Bongo Bongo's side, and we'll definitely still keep the Bongo in the middle. We said before that Undestined Ganondorf would be in Gerudo training grounds, fighting off against the Dinolfos for another match. Do we still want it in that situation, Kat?
Yeah, it's a good place to keep.
Okay, so we'll keep it at that. So both of these worlds merge together. And of course, Undestined Ganondorf sees Bongo Bongo first, notices Bongo Bongo first due to that higher intelligence stat that Undestined Ganondorf has. And yeah, the world is half Bongo Bongos, a big Bongo in the middle, and half the Gerudo training grounds, Dinolfos room that, well, you can say and put it in what Ganondorf was doing before this battle. So it's on you, Cat.
Yes, I would see that Ganondorf would have been doing training fights or some sort of training
Mm,
while this was happened, but well, suddenly everything changed.
mm. Yes. Well, suddenly the room got a lot darker, even though there was still some light on Ganondorf's side. And it seems as though the bongo in the middle starts playing. So, yeah. Is what I'd effectively say. I'd say Bongo Bongo would still probably do that for at least a second, so, you know.
So
Yeah.
Ganondorf in this situation would not immediately know or understand what would be going on.
Mm, yes.
And I would see that the first reaction in this very unlikely situation that he's completely befuddled what's going on, he would start levitating and trying to have a good view of the bongo because that's the new weird thing that's just there.
Okay, so Bongo Bongo would be very much annoyed at this because the thing is that I know a lot of people stare at the bongo itself, but the thing is though it seems as though Undestin Ganondorf is going away from the bongo. So Bongo Bongo would start trying to slap Undestin Ganondorf towards the bongo, using Undestin Ganondorf as a bongo tool. I think that's what Bongo Bongo would do, yeah.
Yeah. And well, Ganondorf undestined could not see that coming, and he's not strong enough with the levitation to resist being hit.
Mm, so yeah. I would probably say that Undestin Ganondorf wouldn't be stunned, but it would be minor damage from that, considering Undestin Ganondorf's health stat and Bongo Bongo's power stat. So I'd still say that you have an action, effectively now.
So after being hit, I would see Ganondorf trying to levitate, like remaining up their position and doing the rage lightning move. I don't know how else call it. In
Okay.
essence, it's a similar kind of thing that you see with Phantom Ganon, that
Mm,
he raises his arm and lightning strike comes
Mm.
kind of like through him.
Where would this be aimed at?
It would, in essence, go from him up because Ganondorf doesn't know what hit him.
Mm. Okay. Um. Hmm. I'm just trying to think how Bongo Bongo would react. Bongo Bongo would definitely be hit. Um. It's just how would that react for Bongo Bongo? Um. So Bongo Bongo thinking something was up would, instead of using the bongo to hit Ganondorf, would so I'd say Bongo Bongo would flinch. Yeah, so Ganondorf, hmm, yeah. I'd say Bongo Bongo would flinch and then put his hand up to try to hit Ganondorf towards the lightning itself, but wouldn't be able to connect due to that small flinch. So I'd say Ganondorf would still have an action here. I'm sort of saying it as a half stun, okay?
Yeah. Well, Ganondorf has no idea did his move do something or not. So I would see him trying to send a fireball just towards the bongo. Just that maybe there is something on the bongo or the bongo itself is the enemy.
Okay. And then Bongo Bongo would hit Ganondorf onto the roof of the GTG building, which isn't that high up actually. And Ganondorf would be taking major damage at this point. And would probably have hit the ground with some stun, heavily damaged. Yeah, I'd say let's still give you one action effectively with it, but know that due to being heavily damaged, I think Ganondorf's abilities will be deteriorating slightly here.
Yes. But Ganondorf is known for the great hatred in his heart.
Mm.
So he would use all his combat knowledge and rage that he has remaining and would do as powerful as Thunderstrike that he can still manage towards where he was hit from. Hopefully hitting whatever it was.
Okay, that does not land. It might have looked absolutely fantastic, but I didn't say specifically, but I would assume Bongo Bongo would have moved its hand far away from where Bongo Bongo slapped Ganondorf up to the ceiling, so it wouldn't have hit. Because
Yeah.
Ganondorf is stunned, this would have taken quite a lot of time. I'd assume Bongo Bongo would put its hand closer to the bongo, getting ready for an attack at this stage. So yeah, it doesn't hit. And then Bongo Bongo, seeing the malice, decides to grab Undestin Ganondorf and swing him around constantly for probably hours on end. Until Ganondorf is eventually defeated, as Bongo Bongo just keeps toying with Undestin Ganondorf. So the winner in this matchup is Bongo Bongo. And yeah, somebody has defeated Undestin Ganondorf. Just
Indeed.
wow. I mean, and again, just explaining things, like, this was by a wide margin, so I'll leave it to you, Kat. Why was Bongo Bongo better in this fight than Undestin Ganondorf?
Even though Bongo Bongo's intelligence is 2 degrees lesser, his health and power, mobility, and abilities are so high, and just the fact that in this form, Undestined Ganondorf would not have that insane long experience and study and knowing of all the dark beings. He would not know what Bongo Bongo is. He might have heard some rumors, but that's all he would have.
Like,
So he was just being hit by something very strong and invisible all of a sudden.
yeah. I mean, this in this version, we actually talked about it a bit before. What is Ganondorf's knowledge of Bongo Bongo? And it does actually go back to what is Twing Rover's knowledge of Bongo Bongo, because Twing Rover is Ganondorf's, I believe, well, they're the ones that effectively raise Ganondorf. I don't believe they're his actual mothers, but effectively adoptive mothers of
Yeah,
Ganondorf.
that has been the official title given to the
Yes.
twins.
So, when dealing with this, they would have some knowledge of Bongo Bongo. However, they wouldn't think of directly giving that knowledge to Ganondorf. And we think that the only sort of information that Ganondorf might have of Bongo Bongo is basically like the form of a children's story. So the form of, when Ganondorf was very young, Bongo Bongo would have effectively been told as there's this evil about that's invisible. I don't know how Ganondorf would have dealt with it, but Ether, laughed in glee or been like, oh, that's a bit scary. But Ganondorf wouldn't have known practically, um, you know, about Bongo Bongo, about how to face off against Bongo Bongo specifically in this one. So therefore, whilst Ganondorf has the higher intelligence, uh, Ganondorf didn't have the knowledge to go through with that because invisibility is a hard special ability to go around, and Bongo Bongo's Dark Affinity boosts up Bongo Bongo's powers even more. Now, Undestined Ganondorf does have Dark Affinity B, but again, that's beaten by Bongo Bongo's Dark Affinity A. So basically, there are possibilities of Ganondorf being able to win this, but those are the 5% that we've granted to Ganondorf. And that would depend upon Ganondorf either getting exceptionally lucky or actually having the knowledge to beat Bongo Bongo, because with the knowledge to beat Bongo Bongo, Ganondorf could defeat Bongo Bongo. So, do you want to say about any of this, Cat?
Yeah. So as this one, the series is all about, in essence, a surprise fight.
Mm,
No, nobody can just be prepared or have knowledge of what's gonna happen. It just happens,
yes.
which is a very major disadvantage to undestined Ganondorf.
Mm,
If he would have prior knowledge of what's gonna happen, that would raise his win percentage way high. But since it just boop, something happened. It you can be an absolute genius and still unable to just counter everything thrown at you.
yeah. Mm. So, yeah. If Ganondorf had some preparation time, then Ganondorf would have been able to defeat Bongo Bongo. Otherwise, if Ganondorf would have actually thrown a very lucky strike at Bongo Bongo's weak point, then we do think that Ganondorf would be able to defeat Bongo Bongo, but since Bongo Bongo's invisible, it's very unlikely that Ganondorf would do that. Ganondorf could probably hit Bongo Bongo as shown in this hypothetical, but the issue is Ganondorf is highly unlikely to hit Bongo Bongo's weak point. And to even know that it's Bongo Bongo's weak point, and to even, be able to replicate that, it would take. Another thing about that is that it would take a lot of sort of. I get that this is intelligence and it's battle intelligence, and Ganondorf has a ton of that. That's why we gave Ganondorf Intelligence S, but it would take a lot of boldness from Ganondorf, and honestly, as a character in general, Ganondorf. It's a tough one because Ganondorf has been bold at times, but Ganondorf hasn't been. let's say, heroic, hasn't decided to do something just because it's the slim chance. Um, would you agree with me on that one, Kat?
Yeah, Ganondorf usually have shown throughout the series, looking at all the media we know and all the games, have had usually a habit of having a certain strategy and going with that, and only going against that when he gets angry. Although that do happen a lot.
Mm, yes. So, yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, like I said, the winner is Undestined Ganondorf. So that's for the Undestined Ganondorf versus Bongo Bongo. And we'll keep a tally of that one as well. And yeah, Ganon wins again. Ganondorf Undestined does not. And that is Boss Battleground 14. Is there anything more you want to say, Kat? Okay. And that is goodbye from me as well.